Alright, welcome back everybody. This is Eric at Real Men, and today we're going to make a quick little video about caring for your motor, especially after it's seen use in salt water. As you know, salt water is highly corrosive. It'll leave a lot of corrosive compounds in your motor that will basically eat the lines up, the seals, and everything like that. You know, it's generally just like any other outing. Even when you use the boat in fresh water, you want to flush the motor with clean water. They sell a set of ears that go on the bottom of the intake, and it actually allows you to hook up a standard hose and then run standard water through it. But really that only kind of accomplishes, you know, half the battle. You actually want the water to fully cycle as it would as if it were really in the water, okay? The way I accomplish that, it's a little bit of extra work, but I like to use a 44-gallon Rubbermaid container, okay? And I fill it up with water and a little bit of Simple Green, all right? And what I'll do is I'll turn my motor on and we're going to run it and let it cycle. So let's go ahead and do that now. Alright, one of the reasons I recommend Simple Green is because it's really not a very strong detergent. You know, it's water soluble. You can cut it in water to different mixtures depending on the amount of cleaning you need to do. I like to add maybe about, I don't know, about a third of this jar to 44 gallons. And that just gives it, you know, a little bit of detergent action, and it helps cut, you know, a lot of that saltwater deposits. You don't really want to use something like Purple Power because it's a little aggressive. Little Simple Green is fine, or they actually sell marine detergents you can get that are especially for cleaning boats and things like that. Some of the old timers, you know, use vinegar or things like that to run through the motor. I suppose that would work, but remember that vinegar is very acidic, and it can actually allow the deposits to take on pretty much the same exact form that you would get from the salt water. So if you are going to use ammonia or vinegar or any type of highly acidic chemical like that, just make sure you're finishing up with lots of clean water, which we're going to hook the Mickey Mouse ears up to this anyway. Let's go ahead and add some Simple Green. I'm letting the water run in the bottom. We're filling it up. Alright, once you got your reservoir in the trash can full of water and your Simple Green mix, go ahead and start the motor. You want to look back at your little pisser valve and make sure it starts pumping immediately. Make sure the water is above the intake on it. So if you don't, you'll burn this sucker up, I'm telling you. You don't want to run it dry. Alright, we're going to get a roll of this real quick. I'll show you what it looks like. Let your motor warm up a little bit, you'll want to go ahead and press. It's different for different engines, but for the skiff here with the Honda motor, you push this little button on the side and you can throttle it without it going in gear. You don't want to spin the prop while it's in the bucket, of course. Alright, that's what you're looking for. The pisser valve to be spitting real consistent, and I run the water to keep a little, you know, fresh cold water running to it. Pretty much you're just going to run it until this stream starts to feel pretty warm, and that'll let you know that the engine has come up to temperature pretty well. And then that's pretty much it. We're just allowing that Simple Green to kind of cycle through, and the whole point is that it pulls a lot of the dirt and deposits and little pieces of shell and mud and oysters, you know, from the bay out of there. All right. And that's supposed to just basically clean that little guy out. You don't want that intake being clogged up with a bunch of crap, because you know, this is a liquid-cooled engine, so you want that liquid to be able to pass through there freely, you know, and to make sure those deposits don't develop in your engine. Anytime you're running salt water, you definitely want to make sure you flush this thing out well. Now, some of the old salts will tell you that you don't have to bother with it. I mean, there's guys that run those old Evan Rudes, and you know, they'll run them in salt water and they never flush them. But I believe in flushing my motors. It's really just a good practice to take care of your investment. I mean, stuff isn't disposable, especially Honda. You know, Hondas aren't built to be disposable. They're built to be taken care of. So hopefully, if you're wondering about it, or if you're curious about a few of the ways you can do it, this will help you glean some information on it. We'll also show you how to flush with the Mickey Mouse ears, just for good measure. We're going to let this run for a while until it starts to get a little warm coming out of here, and then we'll move on to flush with water. All right, after you've run your chemicals or whatever you're going to run through it, you can run onto your Mickey Mouse ears, and all this does is it hooks up to your hose and runs water to the air or the water intake, and it just runs fresh water through it. No matter what chemicals you use, you always want to follow up with this. Same principle applies. Watch for the piston valve. I'm going to go ahead and crank it up just for a minute. Now, some people will tell you that this is all you need to do. I prefer to do this after I've done whatever cleaning I'm going to do to the motor. Last thing to do really before you store it, go ahead and pop the cover and make sure there's no water that's gotten between the seals of the engine cover and the body of the engine, and you're good to go. That's pretty much all you have to do to keep your motor running in tip-top shape, other than, of course, scheduled maintenance.